Content warning. Cursing. The dream.
This is Rena, and I'm sitting in my living room. We just practiced restorative yoga by candlelight, feeling calm. Last night, I had a dream that I suddenly had type 2 diabetes, and I was having to learn how to manage it, which felt scary. And I remember my mom being really hovering around me and being like, Rena, you have to make sure you have your insulin on you, and you have to make sure you eat the sugar, and you just really have to be careful, and you have to make sure, and like just being super, super hovering. And I was just like, Mom, go away! Like, I just didn't want my mom. At the same time, I was scared that I would do it wrong and I would die or something, or I would get really sick. And then I was talking to one of my best friends from home who's had diabetes her whole life, and I was like, can you teach me how I put a needle of insulin in my arm? Like, I just really want you to teach me how, because I just am scared I won't be able to do it right. And like, can you tell me what it feels like to have your sugar feel too low or too high? So like, because I grew up with her always checking her sugars and always taking insulin. So I was like, so when you feel like you need more sugar in your body, how do you feel? And then she was saying like, okay, I feel really, because I was like, what are the symptoms? And I was like, well, it's not really a symptom. It's just how you feel. And she was like, you would feel like maybe really dizzy and really tired. And there was one other one that I can't remember. And I was like, okay, I just want to be able to recognize the signs so I can prevent it from happening. Because what if you don't prick your finger and check your sugar regularly enough and stuff? So she was giving me all these tips. And I just remember carrying around my kit that had insulin in it and my blood test thing. I don't remember ever giving myself insulin or needing to eat sugar or actually puncturing my finger to give myself the test. I just remember having this like new experience in my life that was like, from now on, I'm going to have to do this for the rest of my life. And like, I now have diabetes, and I just do. And so I felt kind of sad, like this loss, and I felt scared, and I also felt like I kind of understood my friend finally. Like, wow, like, that's a crazy life to always think about that. And I felt, I don't remember any physical feelings, or I don't remember ever going into shock of feeling like I had low sugar or high sugar, but I remember being really cognitive about like worrying about it, the anxiety of it, but not wanting my mom hovering so bad, like really not wanting, like being like independent, like I want to learn how to deal with this by myself by asking my friend. That was my dream about getting diabetes.
What does it mean? So since this was prefaced with you saying this is a very easy one, would you like to tell me what?
Well, since we listened to it again, I think it's got more elements than I remembered.
Okay.
The one that I was like, oh, this is like so obvious, is just that because Rena's definitely like a very caring person. Mm-hmm. Who, as she said in the dream, had just led this like really lovely restorative yoga class in her own home with candles, a little electric fireplace.
Yeah, she was
essential
all of our
oils, beautiful herbal tea, like so caring, and empathetic. Yeah, and I feel like this is her brain strategy for like helping her learn empathy for people who are like, it's allowing her to experience what somebody else is going through so that she can empathize with them.
Very different direction than
really?
I was going to go in. Yeah.
Oh my God, because that was like the clearest thing to me.
I see that, but that's not the structural lens that I was using.
So interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was the main thing that stuck out to me, and mainly because she was like, I finally understood my friend, and I think because she like has this role, and I think a lot of people's life as being this very caring, supportive person. Yeah. She's probably doing this all the time in her dream world and not necessarily remembering it, or sometimes remembering it, but like using that space in her subconscious to like experience things through other people's perspectives so that she can empathize better with them.
Yeah, just like constantly practicing empathy. Yeah.
And like imperfectly, because she said she never, like you can't, like she never felt what the actual symptoms of that were like, but she felt the anxiety of it. And like that, you know, I think that's kind of like, if you see somebody else in pain, like you don't feel their physical pain, but you know it's
like hurting in yourself.
The emotional aspect of what they're going through, you can really like pick up on and reflect back, and that's like helpful for relating to those people. Yeah. So yeah, that's what. Damn. Okay. That was the first thing that.
Yeah, interesting. I absolutely was not thinking about it that way because I wasn't. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I have to say something sensitive about how dismissive I am about the fact that it's diabetes, because to me, it's so representational of something completely separate, has nothing to do with
because you are a metaphor machine.
I am not knitted into the real reality. Okay. I'm just floating around. Okay, so. So you're looking at like Relena relationally. It's Relena-lational, but I'm looking at Relena internally.
Re-internal.
That sounds like something.
We're going into renal. No.
Okay. I am thinking about Relena's. Oh my God.
It's Rena Avalon.
Rena. Rhymes with Greena. Okay.
So helpful.
Thinking about her relationship to herself, but also to independence. And, you know, to go with what seems to be a theme so far, which is the idea of growing up. Like, I hear this as a story almost as if, like, it's a 2-year-old describing the experience of being like, I'm learning how to move independently through the world, and it's scary, and I don't know how to do it yet, but I also really want it to be me who learns how to do it, and I want to learn it by doing it and by choosing who it is that I'm getting that from, and not from the containment of my parents, like, coming in and doing the things for me. You know, it's like I really like hear like a kid who's like trying to put their boots on and they're putting them on the wrong feet, and their parent is like stepping in to be like, here, this is how, and then, you know, the kid being like, no, and then running to their like 5-year-old friend and trying to watch how their 5-year-old friend is doing it.
Like, I need to do this myself on my own terms.
Yeah. And I want to know how it feels. I don't want somebody else to.
Yeah.
Because that's like, I feel like that's how it feels when a toddler is learning that like balance of I'm capable now of having this kind of agency, but also I still need guidance.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's sort of like the more subtle skills of that are what everyone goes through as an adult, of like, or hopefully goes through as an adult, where you are still sort of figuring out, especially in one's like, I don't know, like in still young-ish adulthood, but when you're like creating your stability of what adulthood life looks like, it's like, how do I pay attention to all of my body's cues or all of like my emotional cues or whatever before things tip over a bad edge, because no one else is going to do it for me, and there are real dire consequences if I don't pay attention to those things. But also, I don't want anyone to be saving me or like trying to.
So bad when somebody's like, this is how you feel.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, get your shit together.
Come on, I can notice it myself.
Yeah.
I can do it myself.
I can do it myself.
I definitely picked up on that too. Specifically, the parent figure and the friend figure being two alternatives to people who provide you like very important support and teaching.
Yeah.
in
and
your
learning.
life.
Different models for learning.
Yeah.
Like top-down versus apprenticeship.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Kind of.
Yeah, and like that there's definitely, and like the difference between the actual examples that she was using in the dream of what she was getting from each of those people, like, was her mom being like, look for these symptoms. This is what you need to have with you. Like, watch out for this, eat this.
Yeah,
you know?
like external,
very specific, very like strategic things like relating to the medical condition. Yeah. And her friend was very much more like, it's not these symptoms, it's a feeling, and you've got to like intuit it almost, and you have to pay attention to like the sensations in your body, and like, and you'll be able to respond accordingly if you can sense it, right? And
like
it's
interpret your tiredness in this way.
Like it's more of like a lens over regular feelings that you might have instead of just like learning. It's like you're not trying to be your own nurse. You're trying to be like, I don't know, I guess you're trying to be your own nurse also.
Yeah, it's almost like it seems like it's an added literacy about what is happening. It's like walking through the forest with somebody who knows a forest and how to read it.
It's like
it's like doing that with your own internal sensations in such a way that you're interpreting them accurately and in the ways that help keep you safe. Yeah. Rather than it being like you're looking at a like textbook of what a forest is and being like, this is how you learn a forest.
It's not like the mom's like, here's the thesaurus and the dictionary and like this is how you look things up in the index. And the friend is like,
this word this is how you experience this word.
They're like a language class that you've taken already. I don't know. They're immersion. They're moving to the country where the language is spoken.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah,
and you need both sometimes. But it sounds like at this point, what is being expressed is that it's the feeling again, like that feeling when you're first learning to do things for yourself, but then also the more. Yeah, the harder core version of that when you're an adult of like it needing to be exercising the experiential side.
Yeah, and I feel like in the dream, she was also like walking around already. Like she had her kit with her. Like the things that her mom was suggesting were things that she already did have.
She was using those things.
She had gotten like, she'd already maybe learned like how to be prepared for certain situations in the same way that her mom would advise her to because she's already like grown up and gone through that learning with her mom.
Yeah.
And it extends to all new circumstances. She knows how to prepare herself. But then it's like the intuitive side that she actually needs more help. Like,
yeah. And she wants to choose that help.
Yeah.
You know, she wants to. Yeah. Okay. So one side is just an exercise in empathy that sounds like it's maybe just an ongoing thing that Rena's brain is engaged in and knows how to do and is like constantly looking for more frontiers for exercising that capability. And then the other side is just this kind of negotiation of what it means to like learn how to take care of oneself on an intuitive level.
And that you can choose who's actually the appropriate.
Yeah, what you need in that way.
Yeah. Sick. Well.
Not literally. Well, metaphorically sick. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. Help us keep making this by subscribing to and reviewing the podcast wherever you listen to it, and following and liking us on social media.
If you love this, you can support us on Patreon.
We will reward you.